had mentioned that one of the purposes of the Theogony is to establish a pan-Hellenic set of values. We spent some time at the beginning of class thinking about the Theogony in terms of the potential values that it outlines, and we noticed a number of them. Some of them seem to be fairly nice from a modern perspective. Others are more troubling. So, for instance, we noticed the emphasis on power and beauty, or the sense of excellence, the thing that makes the gods that do triumph over other gods triumph. And we noticed a gender disparity here in the sense that power tends to be associated with male gods and beauty with female goddesses. But the Greek word for this is aristeia, and that really is a very strong value from the Bronze Age right through the 5th century, this sense of excellence. Aristeia means excellence. The word is the root of modern words like aristocrat, which means the rule of the excellent. The other thing we noticed is the emphasis on trickery, guile, wit, basic intelligence, which is also seems to be highly valued based on the events in the stories. The word in Greek here is metis, which is also the name of the goddess Metis, and that's the other potential word. And the combination of Aristeia and Metis is going to be really important for the Iliad and the Odyssey, so keep them in mind. We also notice an emphasis on order throughout. From the beginning to the end of the Theogony, there is a progression of ordering of the universe, culminating in the establishment of Zeus's pantheon and the end of the war with the Titans. Another thing that was mentioned was the combination of a sense of fairness, or payback, if you want, for some things. The sense that one action must be balanced in some way with another, and that brings up the broader concept of balance itself between binary oppositions. In fact, we finished class by thinking about some potentially structuralist analysis of the stories, and the Greek emphasis on balance and opposition between sort of binary opposites leads really easily to a sense of how important balance was for them. Well, on the flip side, on the underside, we did notice some other things that seem to be prevalent in these stories, and which, if not values in the ordinary sense of positive things within the culture, seem to be nevertheless common or dominant attitudes. One, of course, is normative violence. This seems to be a very, very violent account of the pantheon, and we might argue that cultures that have an extremely violent set of stories like this potentially embrace violence themselves. And in fact, Greek culture, particularly in the period depicted in the Iliad and the Odyssey, does seem to be a warrior culture. The other thing, of course, is misogyny. This seems to be a very patriarchal system in which the women seem to be objects or prizes or things to be traded rather than entities in their own right. And this, in fact, is also true largely of Greek culture and literature, which doesn't mean that we won't encounter strong and interesting female characters, but it is something to take into account as well. It goes beyond simple sexism or anti-feminism.